everybody, and welcome back to another special edition review here on the channel, where we are going to be talking about The Eye of the World, UK exclusive edition, special edition, put out by Orbit UK, and I figured it's the right time to get this late special edition review to you, because Orbit UK has just announced that they are putting out another Eye of the World Deluxe Edition for America's greatest fantasy series.
Ouch.
Tor, what are you doing? You have the ability to do this, and the only thing you've given us recently is a piece of trash silver edition that is finally just off my shelves. I don't even know where it went because I hated it so much. I imagine I burned it when I was sleepwalking. And of course I hear you asking, Daniel, how did you get a UK exclusive edition all the way across the pond? I have my resources. And by that I mean Rustage. Daniel Rustage in the UK is a friend of mine, and he grabbed one and we exchanged it when I went to London recently. Thank you, Daniel. Let me know if you're interested in more of these with the likes, the subscribes, and comments and all of that. Also enjoy the new camera angle I got that took me far too long to set up. It was kind of tricky. I just wish we'd get a cool new American set here that aren't like the show version, they aren't like those minimalist nature ones. A new American version of the Wheel of Time from the ground up, because we know as mega fans that special editions of the Wheel of Time in the US are really hard to find. And the most common like special edition for the Wheel of Time I see is the Juniper Collection series behind me, which don't get me wrong, is great, but you either need to spend an ungodly amount of money on all of the hardbacks with the covers to get them, or somehow go out and just scavenge together the right set of hardbacks, which you cannot find in any traditional bookstore commonly. So something like this, we need across the pond. But before we crack into it, of course, we got to select the knife we're gonna use. For those of you who have been curious about how I select the knives, I'm giving you an exclusive sneak peek into the process. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and open. Okay, so that just kind of slipped open with my fingers. That was not scripted, but we don't need a knife. I'm done wasting your time though. Let's go ahead and jump on in. So as you can see, yeah, I haven't even opened this yet. It's still in all of its little condiming, and immediately I'm kind of surprised by the feel I am getting here. This is, I guess I'm used to a lot of like the leather, thicker versions of these, because this just feels a little bit flimsier. Let me show you what I mean by comparison. When you get something like this honkin' edition of Lord of the Rings that came out for its anniversary, this is just not quite as impressive. As you can see, the corners are going to scuff a little easier than something that's got like the felt material here, and obviously this kind of more embossed textured spine just hits a little bit harder than this one, though I'm putting this against like gold standard right now, so don't take that as too big a negative. We have the nice little publisher mark with Orbit, The Eye of the World, Robert Jordan. Obviously no Sanderson on this because he wasn't involved yet, and the only thing on this side is a very minimal little branch design, which makes sense because no one in their right mind would have this side facing out. All right, going ahead and opening on up. I'm really heavily reminded of the folio A Song of Ice and Fire. There's no art on the inside of the case, which you do occasionally get with these. I'll show you an example. This is what I'm saying it's reminding me of. As you can see for the A Song of Ice and Fire covers, you have something that I would say you could safely say is in a similar style to the Wheel of Time and what they're going for here, but with a step up, it being from folio. As you can see, we have a little artistic rendering of man carrying thing in there. Good on you, Jake, for getting that deal. And my immediate impression is, yeah, you also don't get like premium maps like you do from folio. This is striking me as a very diet version of this, although I am happy to say, as you can see, we have colored fringing on those Song of Ice and Fires, which I think is a huge selling point, and you still have those for the Wheel of Time as well, or the Eye of the World. So I'm actually happy to say on the opening flap, we actually have some artwork here. I think all Wheel of Time fans will recognize the scene. It's high quality, it's not something I've seen before, and I definitely think that's a good opening image. We get through a lot of the standard, just okay, here is the Wheel of Time. We have a foreword by Brent Weeks. We have Brent Weeks going over what seems to be his experience discovering the Wheel of Time, which is a really cool thing I'll let you read on your own, or I guess you can pause the video and squint real hard. We have a dedication to Harriet from Robert Jordan, forever. I love that they did not change that, obviously. There's no opening map, which is not a sin in my book, if they actually have the full map in the back, which they do. We have a little bit of a biography on Robert Jordan, and I am sad to say it seems nothing very distinguishing throughout the actual interior here, aside from something on the exterior as well that says, of course, the Wheel of Time turns and ages come and past. What will be and what is may yet fall under the shadow. All right, so I've done a bit more scanning into this book, trying to just make sure I have not missed any of the little details here. There were a couple more maps in the front, one of which I would go as far as to say is terribly printed. I don't think there is any reason for a very notable percentage of the map to be split, and I don't know if you can see this, slightly crooked within the book. We also have a secondary map of a closer up location I won't get too into for spoiler reasons, but if you look really closely at this map, the printing is not very high quality. I can see a bit of blur even, and the more I'm actually holding this in the hand, the more the area around the spine and stuff is just starting to feel super subpar. Even the box it came in, it just feels like a piece of cardboard instead of pretty much every other deluxe edition I have in this price range, where it feels a bit more sturdy, a bit more resilient than that. And especially for the £100 price range, this feels diet. This feels not well realized enough. Yeah, they got some fun, funky artwork on the front, and it's stylized in a clear stylistic similarity to what Folio is doing with their Song of Ice and Fires, like especially when you put them right next to each other, that is just a far better execution. Which, yes, it costs about 100 some more, so you might expect that, but with this being out of stock pretty much everywhere I'm looking for it, and the upcharge you're getting from secondhand sellers actually putting it in the price range of these Song of Ice and Fire editions, it's an absolute skip from me. So let's go ahead and compare what you're getting as opposed to just the standard hardback, which you can find the original Eye of the World hardcover on sale for about 30 bucks usually, and funnily enough, you can see the terrible Tor version of the Anniversary on sale for about 20 because no one wants that, and that makes the difference here even less worth it for me, because let's say you pay $20 for this, you're going to go ahead and get, oh, I have a little inscription from my dad when he gave me this first edition of Eye of the World. I didn't realize I grabbed that one. That's super nice. Thank you, Dad. You also get a version of the same map that is printed larger with not as obnoxious a gap between it. You also get the same close-up map in a more minimal style, which yes, might not look as impressive, but is far more readable. So to be clear, what you are paying a $60 to $70 difference for is purely this flimsy box, this artwork, and having a color map in the back with, I guess, the fringing along the sides, which I don't personally know how many people are going to have visible if they're keeping it in the box. And in my opinion, once it's in the box, it's just far less impressive overall. You would want to keep it out. So that kind of renders the box, for me, just not even a factor. It's also significantly thicker than the original hardback printing for some reason. About 1/3 of an inch. That is just not worth the money. It does have a ribbon. It was just tucked away in a way where I couldn't see it. We do have a ribbon. Unless you are a super mega Wheel of Time fan who wants to specifically have a version of Eye of the World standing out on your shelf, I can't really recommend this to anyone else. You're not guaranteed that the entire series is going to have a print run in this style, so if you just get Eye of the World like this and the rest not, it's not going to look very good on your shelf, and you're going to have to tailor how you display the series around that. In terms of a reading experience, they haven't really done much to improve anything, except for you don't get Nicolas Cage on the cover, which to me, that's a negative. I'm actually kind of annoyed the more I think about it that it doesn't even have its own distinct style, and even the way this is presenting is just screaming so heavily of the well-known iconic Folio, A Song of Ice and Fires. The Wheel of Time, despite coming out before A Song of Ice and Fire, still lives in that series' shadow, and on some kind of weird fan level, this feels like an almost accidental reference to that, where the Song of Ice and Fire has just overtaken the Wheel of Time in the American zeitgeist for very obvious reasons, and now Wheel of Time can't even escape that in their special editions. Please remember, I'm harsh because I do love it, but overall, this is going to be an overpriced C. There's not really anything to point and laugh at or mock as awful, aside from that map being printed in such a bad way, and I'm just left underwhelmed. And surprised they're still trying to charge $100 for it. All right, we'll address the elephant in the room. It's limited edition. There's only 1,000 of these printed. Should that affect the overall review and price that's asked? I see the case for if something is only 1,000, then you can charge more for it. I understand that. I plan on using that in marketing strategies in the future going forward. But if you are going to charge more for it, then it should reflect that in the actual value of what you create and put forward. For those of you curious, I got copy 431 of 1,000. It's just that, yeah, it's limited. That's nice, but now I feel like I spent too much money just for the fact that it's limited. And those of you with a keen eye have probably already noticed they're reusing some of the conceptual design elements for this copy for the mass-produced special edition that Orbit is putting out as almost like a sequel to this. And does that detract from the 1,000? Should people have been made aware of that when they bought into this 1,000 at this price range? There's no objective answers, but it all adds a little bit more of a sour taste in my mouth. I don't get it. Oh, hi. See, I was just finishing off a letter to my publisher in regards to my upcoming supernatural cyberpunk book, Neon Ghosts, which we're determined to make the most deluxe standard edition anyone has ever purchased. So if you're interested in following the Kickstarter today, to be first in line for some of the even limited premium editions, go ahead and follow the Kickstarter in the link down below. But let me know what you think of this special edition of The Eye of the World in the comments down below. Was I too harsh? Just after getting my hands on it, I would not pay $100. No way. But of course, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.